When you think of a volcano-themed water park, your mind probably instantly goes to Volcano Bay at the Universal Orlando Resort. But over 20 years before Volcano Bay opened, Disney was planning their own water park surrounding a volcano. Set to be part of the ambitious Phase 2 plans for the Euro Disneyland Resort, Lava Lagoon would have been 2 water parks in one, both centered around the Big Kahuna, a large, man-made volcano. Sadly, a water park became the last thing on the resort's mind when Euro Disneyland opened. And although a water park would eventually kind of be built by Disneyland Paris, it was nothing like these grandiose plans. For Review Time, I'm Luke, and this is the story of Lava Lagoon, Disney's cancelled volcano-themed water park. When the Euro Disney Resort was under construction, a Phase 2 and 3 of the resort had already been announced. The major component of the second phase was Disney MGM Studios Europe, which was originally planned to open in 1996 before being bumped up to 1994, with internal projections expecting the resort to see huge success from day one. The third phase was set to include a third theme park at the resort, a European Epcot Center, opening up sometime near the end of the 1990s, meaning that in under 10 years, the resort was set to have 3 theme parks and countless other offerings. This is the reason that upon opening, the Euro Disneyland Resort included 7 different hotels, housing over 5,800 individual rooms. Planned to come between those 2 parks as the last part of Phase 2 was Lava Lagoon. Preliminary studies and reports had been completed and approved before the opening of Euro Disneyland, with the water park set to open around 1995. Lava Lagoon would have been located near the center of the Euro Disney property, across the road from Sequoia Lodge and Newport Bay Club, and interestingly, for a majority of the year, would have only been accessible to guests staying at an on-site resort. To suit the harsh, freezing winters of France, the water park would have been split into 2 distinct areas. The first being indoors and open all year round inside a massive glass dome, and the other half being outside, and only open during the warmer parts of the year. This split is the reason that most of the year, the park would only be open to hotel guests, as the indoor section could only hold around 1,600 people, with 1,500 more allowed to enter when both halves were open, and non-resort guests only being allowed in on days where there happened to be availability. The water park itself would have had almost the complete opposite theme to Blizzard Beach, which also opened up in 1995. Rather than being themed to a freak Floridian snow resort, Lava Lagoon was set to have a tropical, tiki theme, with everything surrounding a central weenie of a giant volcano called the Big Kahuna. The indoor area with its lush tropical plants and South Pacific theming would contain a large number of attractions. Down the slopes of the Big Kahuna itself would be several body slides, ranging from the winding and calm up to the speedy and steep, with the most intense of them all looking to be Pele's Plummet, a slide right down the side of the volcano itself. Other slides coming off the volcano would have included the Lava Loop, the Spouting Horn, and the Sizzling Stones, all of which sound like a perfect mix of exciting and confusingly named. The west side of the volcano would have been home to one of the park's large wave pools, named the Great Pacific. Wrapping around the outside of the volcano would have been several tube slides, all with exciting names including Kahuku Falls and Aloha Falls. And of course, being a water park, it wouldn't be complete without a lazy river, with the river at this park being particularly spectacular, almost wrapping around the entire park. The indoor section didn't just contain slides and pools though. It would have also included a second level with a restaurant, shops and saunas, perfect for the parents to relax while the children explored. Another interesting detail is that the entire perimeter of the volcano would have been covered in a black, non-slip surface, designed to simulate fossilized lava that had hit the water. At certain sections, this floor would have given way to black sand inside the dome, and further, white sand on the seasonally opened outdoor section of the park. Speaking of the outdoor section, outside would have only been 3 slides: the Toa Needle and Waimea Canyon body slides, and the Waihi Falls raft slide. The main outdoor offering, though, would have been a giant wave pool, similar to Typhoon Lagoon, with larger waves for guests willing to brave them, as well as smaller offshoot areas for children to wade in. Interestingly, at the back of the outdoor section would have been another beach-type area complete with deck chairs, though this would have connected the park to Lake Disney, allowing boat access from the resort hotels and Disney Village direct to Lava Lagoon. That's what Lava Lagoon should have looked like when it opened to guests in 1995, just a few months after Disney MGM Studios Europe opened its gates to guests. But if you visit the resort today, Paris has no volcano-based water parks. So what happened? This park was set to cost around 100 million euros, a similar cost to an e-ticket attraction like Indiana Jones or Splash Mountain, both of which were also meant to be part of the Phase 2 expansions for Euro Disneyland. Before Euro Disneyland had opened, the resort had delusions of grandeur. Delusions that were quickly ripped down when the attendance didn't come close to meeting the projections required to pay off the expensive theme park and resort Michael Eisner insisted on. This, partnered with misjudgments on several important cultural factors, meant that the resort was unlikely to ever hit the lofty goals set for it. This began a vicious cycle for the resort, where low numbers meant the planned expansions were never built, which led to lower guest numbers and expenditure. Without the second gate or water park, Euro Disney was unable to become the destination resort Disney had envisioned from the start, leaving guest rooms at the multitude of the 7 hotels more often empty than filled. A few years later, thanks to Space Mountain in 1995, the resort's fortunes were starting to look up. But by then, it was too late for Lava Lagoon. The resort had already accumulated crushing debt that was costing the park millions of dollars a year just in interest. The money saved for the resort's second phase was ultimately used to pay down this debt and add some further attractions to the Disneyland Paris park. The mistakes made in the early years of Euro Disneyland are something we want to take a much deeper dive into in the near future though, so watch this space. If you visit Disneyland Paris today, you surprisingly can visit a water park with both indoor and outdoor elements. At the outskirts of the Disneyland Paris resort, around 4 miles away from the parks, is the Nature Villages Paris, an ecotourism resort that was jointly designed and constructed by the Pierre and Vacances Group, a French-based tourism and accommodation provider, as well as Euro Disney SCA, the Disney subsidiary that owns the Disneyland Paris resort. Nature Villages Paris is designed as an all-encompassing resort experience, complete with sustainable lodgings, as well as access to a number of experiences, including a farm, an indoor activity center, a bowling alley, tree trials, and so much more. Most interesting to us, though, is Aqua Lagon, a hybrid indoor-outdoor water park that bears some similarity to what would have been included in Lava Lagoon. Indoors is several water slides and activities, with a major heated pool being outside the main complex. Sadly, this park doesn't have the Disney magic that would have existed at Lava Lagoon, and its distance from the rest of the Disneyland Paris resort makes it feel like more of an afterthought to a Disney vacation than a necessary part of it, especially with Nature Villages Paris being around 30 minutes away from the theme parks via the paid shuttle bus service. Thankfully, those who want to visit a volcano-themed water park still can. It's just on the other side of the world at a completely different resort owned by a completely different company. Volcano Bay is a sprawling water park that is leagues bigger than Lava Mountain ever would have been. But it can't quite compete with the level of thematic detail Disney's offering would have delivered on. In some ways, Disneyland Paris is still recovering from its disastrous opening years, and with how woeful their second theme park, Disney Studios Paris, was when it opened in 2002, maybe it's a good thing Lava Lagoon was never built. Otherwise, it might have just been some Frenchmen splashing you with a bucket of water before pushing you down a hill. From the home of all things theme parks, I'm Luke for Review Time. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. If so, be sure to like and subscribe, and also tune into our podcast, Review Time's Theme Park Cast, available on your podcasting platform of choice.